If we want to understand what freedom is, we must understand what slavery is. When we need something to the point of being terrified to lose it, it's because we are slaves of what we accepted in our life. I'm a free being because I don't need the society, and this is why I have the power to see the truth. The society is not my master. Therefore I have the power to see it as it is. You need the society on every aspect of your life. Therefore you cannot allow yourself to see the truth about your master. I know that asking people to see the truth about their master is a terrible revolution, because seeing the truth would mean becoming free, independent, out of the hive. Let us see the truth together. Maybe it will give you the power to be free. I know that it's extremely difficult, but it is the first proof to receive in you. If you weren't slave, the difficulty wouldn't exist. At the beginning of everything, the cosmos was created with 4 forces to organize the existence of everything. These 4 forces are not proof that there is a God, but if we imagine a God who created the cosmos to manifest intelligence and spirituality, he couldn't have created better rules to reach this. These 4 forces are the electromagnetic force, the strong nuclear force, the force of gravity, and the so-called weak forces. These 4 forces are very often grouped in 3, electromagnetic, nuclear and gravity, because according to different types of classification the weak forces are included in the electromagnetic one. Everything that we are now has already been written on the walls of the cosmos at the Planck time. Our brains are like holograms of the cosmos because the same forces acted to create the cosmos, galaxies, solar systems, stars, planets, and our brain, our DNA, and everything that we are now. Therefore we can already answer the first question: are we alone in the cosmos? How could we, while the forces of the cosmos are a perfect divine will to create what we are, and not only here on Earth, but everywhere in the cosmos? We are the fruit of the tree called cosmos, but this tree has produced plenty of fruit everywhere in the cosmos. It exists only for this. Understanding the basics of astrophysics is equivalent to understanding the will of God to manifest the intelligence. If I consider our intelligence since its existence differently than a simple instinct, we have to go back 200,000 years into the past. If I compare the time of this intelligence with the time of the existence of the cosmos, as well as the size of our planet with the size of the cosmos, I could put these proportions in perspective with dimensions that are more accessible to our minds. Let's say that this intelligence of 200,000 years is equivalent to 1 minute of existence of 1 grain of sand in the Sahara, that has been existing since about 10,000 years. Thus, in the same proportions, our industrial intelligence equals only 1 second of existence of 1 grain of sand of the Sahara. In this desert the dunes can reach 100 meters high, and the complete desert covers more than half of Europe. The Church, slave of the society, says that the Sahara of 10,000 years under nearly infinite quantity of sand has been existing for only 1 second of our grain of sand. This is a lie that is insulting the common sense. The cosmos is full of intelligent beings. Some of them were on our planet while we were still animals. Some of those aliens were dishonest and learned to control us completely by making us believe that they were gods. These gods taught to the slaves that were the humans that they will keep coming back regularly to harvest our planet. Even when we have some periods of freedom, the teaching of the gods is present everywhere. When you are watching your TV, you are looking at the teaching of your gods. When you buy something, you do only what your gods taught you. When you go to church, you go to pray to the same gods. When, as you always do, believe in the society, you only believe in these gods. They are in every aspect of your life and of your psychology. Let's take for instance the Great Pyramid of Giza. I'm now going to explain something quite complex. It's always hard with the public to make your point with complicated aspects. If I don't take the technical aspects, some people will say that I have been inventing whatever I wanted. With some other people, if I present the technical aspects, they will say it's too difficult for me, I'm leaving. So, what is to be done? I will say that for those who need the technical evidence, I'm going to present that now. And for those who are afraid of explanations that might be too technical, and who want just to come back for the fantastic revelations I'm going to give now, I will invite you to go and get a cup of coffee and come back in about a quarter of an hour for the rest of the story. Therefore, now concentrate, because I'm going to give you technical proofs that no one can deny, but it's going to be quite tough for a quarter of an hour. For those who want a cup of coffee, it's that way. We know today that the 3 pyramids of Giza draw within the constellation of Orion. The same type of alignment is also found in other sites like in Teotihuacan and in Bosnia. Unfortunately, the constellations in our sky move slowly, and the drawing of Orion is incorrect, unless you go back to the past and realize that the drawing of the 3 pyramids is absolutely reflecting the drawing in the sky 12,500 years ago. To be very clear, if we take into consideration the precession in the sky of 1 degree every 72 years and we go back into the past, the drawing of the pyramids is perfect, or, should I say, was perfect 12,500 years ago. The Sphinx, that is a kind of lion with a very small face, is looking nearly at the constellation of the Lion. So, if we count down until the Sphinx is accurately in front of this constellation in the sky, we will reach exactly 12,500 years. No one can date the pyramids. Anyone who asserts that the pyramids are old of this or that age is a liar, because we don't know. I just say myself that the pyramids in Egypt and the Sphinx are in harmony with the sky of 12,500 ago. The problem is that either 5,000 years ago, or even less 12,500 years ago, we weren't intelligent enough to have built these pyramids, and even less in alignment with the sky and constellations. And the story goes much further when we consider the dimensions of the pyramid itself. Everything in the dimensions of this pyramid shows that the creators knew perfectly well the numbers pi and phi. We can easily see that they knew all the fantastic aspects of the golden number. But before going any further, let us look briefly at some of the mathematical properties of the golden number. Sacred mathematics. You all learned that pi, written with the Greek letter pi, is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, and its value is rounded to 3.1416. But you are maybe less familiar with phi, written with the lowercase Greek letter phi, and phi, symbolized by the capital Greek letter phi. For easy convenience in this audio, I will call them little phi and big phi. The ratios phi and phi are known as well under the name golden number, or golden ratio. They have the respective values of 0.618 and 1.618 and exist throughout nature. In the proportions of the structure of leaves, in shells, in the human body, in the solar system. Phi is the ratio of the line segments that result when a line is divided in one very special and unique way. If you divide a line so that the ratio of the length of the entire line, A, to the length of larger line segment, B, is the same as the ratio of the length of the larger line segment, B, to the length of the smaller line segment, C. This happens only at the point where A is 1.618 times B and B is 1.618 times C. Alternatively, C is 0.618 of B and B is 0.618 of A. Expressed as equation big phi equals 1.618 and little phi equals 0.618. Their discovery is attributed to the Italian mathematician Fibonacci in the 13th century. In his book Libra Bassi, published in 1202, Fibonacci wrote down the knowledge he had gained from his journeys to Egypt, Syria, Greece, Sicily and Provence. In this book he introduced the Latin-speaking world to the decimal number system. The first chapter of Part 1 begins, "These are the 9 figures of the Indians, 9876543321. With these 9 figures, and with this sign 0 which in Arabic is called Zephyrum, any number can be written, as will be demonstrated." Fibonacci observed that the design of many natural and as well architectural elements encompass various aspects of 0.618 and 1.618. These relationships relate to the sequence of numbers consisting of 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, and so on, where each number is the sum of the previous 2 numbers, and that was named the Fibonacci sequence. What is less known is that if you take any 2 adjacent numbers of this sequence, for example 21 and 34, or 55 and 89, you can obtain 2 different ratios. One ratio is close to 0.618 if you divide the first number of the sequence by the second one, and the other ratio is close to 1.618 if you divide the second number by the first one. The bigger the numbers are, the smaller the variations in the decimal get, until we reach perfect coincidence at infinity. Let me now show you several properties that are unique for the golden number. Let's start with the small phi, 0.618. If you add 1 to the small phi plus 1, or if you divide 1 by the small phi, 1 divided by small phi, in both cases you obtain 1.618, that is the big phi. Small phi plus 1 equals 0.618 plus 1 equals 1.618 equals big phi. 1 divided by small phi equals 1 divided by 0.618 equals 1.618 equals big phi. This means that small phi plus 1 is equal to 1 divided by small phi, both being equal to big phi. Small phi plus 1 equals 1 divided by small phi equals big phi. Presented differently by little phi. Big phi equals 1 plus small phi. Big phi equals 1 divided by small phi. Let us now play with the magic of this big phi, 1.618. If we add 1 to big phi plus 1, it is equivalent to square it. Big phi plus 1 equals big phi square. Let's calculate. Big phi plus 1 equals 1.618 plus 1 equals 2.618, as we can verify that 2.618 is 1.618 squared, which means big phi square. We have demonstrated that big phi plus 1 equals big phi. And if on the other hand, instead of adding 1, we subtract 1 to the big phi minus 1, it is equivalent to divide 1 by the big phi. Big phi minus 1 equals 1 divided by big phi. Let's calculate again. Big phi minus 1 equals 1.618 minus 1 equals 0.618, which allows us to say that big phi minus 1 equals small phi, as we already discovered that 0.618, small phi, is equal to 1 divided by 1.618. We have demonstrated as well that big phi minus 1 equals 1 divided by big phi. In fact, these are several equations that work only with the golden ratio, and nothing else. And we can go on playing with the golden number. If we skip alternate numbers in the Fibonacci sequence and we divide the biggest number by the smallest, we end up with the same result as either big phi square or adding 1 to big phi. For example, 144 divided by 55 equals 2.618 equals 1.618 plus 1 equals 1.618 squared. We could try the same with 89 and 34, or 21 and 8, and we would get the same quotient. These demonstrations allow us to understand the intensity of the knowledge of phi, and if we apply these mathematical properties to the pyramid of Giza, we start to understand the high level of knowledge of those people who created something that cannot exist today, and even less if we consider that this pyramid was officially built in only 20 years. Therefore, we have to understand that the golden ratio is a mathematical key of very high spirituality. The one who understands the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, has a key to understand a lot in spirituality. The one who knows this system knows indeed a lot about the spiritual mathematics. This secret teaching was indeed sacred in the initiations of the past. Now the golden ratio was used in the Greek architecture, in the Latin one, and after in the cathedrals of Europe. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. Therefore, when Fibonacci wrote down his observation and knowledge he had gained, the phenomenon of the golden number, sextio aura, was already well known by the ancient Greek mathematicians like Euclid, 300 BC, or Pythagoras, 571–495 BC. It is applied in the Greek ancient orders of architecture, the Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian, later adapted by the Romans. The classical architecture orders represent the male, Doric, applied for example for the Parthenon, and the female body, Ionic, applied for example at the Temple of Artemis, and the body of the child, Corinthian, applied for example at the Temple of Olympian Zeus. It appears in many buildings of classical architecture like cathedrals, but it was as well already applied in Greek sculptures like in those from Praxiteles, 4th century BC. The connections are very clear, even if officially the Egyptians didn't know even the wheel and even less the golden section. Sometimes, when we check the history with the clever intelligence, we can easily discover lies and manipulations. If we take the facts about the inheritance of the Greeks from the Egyptians, it means that in 500 years of civilization, in the middle of wars and building of a society, they knew and applied such a fantastic knowledge. 5,000 years ago there is on our planet only cavemen. 4,500 years ago in Egypt they built the Pyramid of Cheops.